What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mr. Madrid with the Mr. Madrid Show. Today we have a special guest. This is an individual that I know for the past, I would say, almost 3 years. A person that I constantly see showing up not only for himself but for his family. Hard worker. The level of dedication that I see is amazing. He's the type of person that he puts in work like to the 10th power, and I can honestly say it's like it doesn't matter if somebody's watching him or not. He's doing him. He's putting in the hours that he needs to put into his craft, into his dreams, into the things that he wants to do and live out. And it's something that I don't think I've told you in person, but like it's something that I really admire, and it is super inspiring. Like I think the first time I seen you, he's actually a neighbor of mine, but the first time I seen you, he was, I think, shadow boxing across the street. And I'm like, oh man, this dude got his shirt off, making me look bad over here with the dad bod. But through time, we chopped it up a couple times. We have similar situations. We're both fathers. We're married. Have awesome partners and things of that nature. And I just seen his journey and all the things that he wants to do, how active he's on social media and all that stuff. So I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I know that we've been trying to get you on and things like that, and finally we were able to get it done. So welcome, bro.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate you having me. It's weird, hearing people give you praise, and it's, a little uncomfortable sometimes, but I appreciate that, man. It's really dope just to see how this has come together, right? Because we've chopped it up and talked about like dreams and goals, and I know this is something that you've wanted to do for a while, so I'm really honored to be a guest.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming. And it's dope because, I see that you've grown a following on social media and things like that. So it's like, I was a little bit like, damn, is he going to come on? Does he want to come on? Because you're doing your thing, bro. And like, every time I see you post things, it's like, it's super dope to see from where you started to where you're at now. And, obviously it's not going to stop. And we got much more that's coming for both of our journeys. But it's super dope, man. But I just want to, I think I texted you earlier, and there's a question that people ask all the time. And it might be a difficult question for you. I know it's a difficult question for me, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it.
Okay.
And no pressure. You know, who is Miles Orman?
Damn. Okay. Yeah, that's a tough one in a sense. I can give you the cliche, like I really do believe that we're all spiritual beings, like having a human experience. But specifically for me, I would say I'm a student of life. Like from as long as I can remember, like I've just been really curious about like people's experiences, trying to learn from others' experiences, learning from myself, having curiosity about what's the meaning behind all of this, and wanting to live my life in a way that is true to how I feel like on the inside.
Yeah.
Being a kind person, being a positive person, being somebody who likes to see other people successful and like support them and try to help, in any way that I can. So I'd say I'm a student of life, as far as labels, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother. But yeah, I'm just someone who really tries to live their life in a way that is an example for others.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, one thing I'll say is like it's just dope to see you on social media when I seen you do the 75 hard and the dedication that you have to do there. Like there was one day there was a crazy storm. We never spoke about this, but the storm is I didn't want to be outside. Next day I go on social media, this dude is out there in the rain working out, and I'm like, yo, the amount of lightning that was out there that night, and you out there doing your thing, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. I wouldn't be out there, but your man Miles was out there getting some work in. But since I'm introducing you to folks on my platform and things of that nature, one thing that I haven't said in any of the interviews or times that I've been on to talk about what the podcast is about. Ultimately, it's about business, parenting, and adulting, right? And I think you have all three of those things going on. But like somebody asked me, and I just wanted to share this with you so I can share it with the viewers at the same time, is for some reason sometimes I feel like, and this might be cliche because it sounds dramatic, but like I don't feel like I'm gonna be around for a long time. Like I want to see my kids grow up to be adults and see them married and all that stuff. But the real reason that I'm doing this, and I want people like you on the show, people that are inspiring and have a story to tell, is because if I'm not around to like drop some gems on my kids and stuff like that, or anybody out there, but specifically my kids, being selfish in that sense, they could always tune into things like this and they could watch us chop it up and see things and learn from experiences like this. You know what I mean? So that's like, though I was really thinking about the question I just asked you, like, who is Miles Orman? And then I'm like, all right, who's Mr. Madrid?
Right.
You know what I mean? And what's the purpose of this? And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to have you here, because I know that you've shared your journey all over social media, and from the time you were a kid to growing up to an adult with a family and all that stuff. But just so people understand what it is that you do, how is it that you help folks out? Like, what is it that you do currently? And then we'll kind of start a little bit in the beginning of like a little bit of your childhood and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And just to touch on what you said, man, like I think that's one of the beauties about like the time that we live in with the technology that we have to capture, these moments and to share our stories. It's to actually be able to leave those things for your family and for your friends to still feel your presence and your message and your energy, whether it's a podcast, a video from writing, just really capturing who you are as a person. I think it's beautiful. So the fact that like that's part of your reason for doing this is awesome.
Yeah, somebody asked me at work. It was actually my supervisor. He was like, "Yeah, that shit kind of choked me up, bro." That you said that, and I was just like, "It's kind of dope that it did because it's legit."
Yeah.
But aside from that, bro, like, tell us a little bit about what you do today, and like, you are a business owner and what you got going on, because I think you've had like a spiritual journey and it turned into a business where you're able to actually help folks out in life. And at the same time, I know how passionate you are about it. So share a little bit about that.
So I'm a personal coach. I help people with their mindset and wellness to work on getting out of their own way, breaking through barriers that they have. My approach is to help uncover what some of your limiting beliefs are, what might be standing in the way of you actually like accomplishing some of the goals that you have. And with doing that, the process includes wellness practices that we cultivate, building habits around mindfulness, really getting curious about yourself and gaining clarity on the things that you want for yourself and for your life. And it's cool because the process that I walk other people through is the exact same thing that I had to do for myself. So although I'm still educating myself to stay up with what's going on currently in the industry, I'm teaching from a place of experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a life coach is pretty much what you would call it these days.
Super dope. Super dope. So, excuse me. Talk to us a little bit about, was there something that happened in life that caused you to do that, to become that, to want to do that? Like, what's what causes that passion behind that drive for you to become exactly what it is that you do? And obviously we all want to eat, we all want to make money,
right?
But I think a lot of what you do is genuinely wanting to help people. Like, where does that come? Where does that stem from?
Yeah, it goes back to the question you asked me, like, who is Miles and who is Miles Orman? And I've always been someone who's cared about seeing others doing well and feeling good about themselves and being a positive influence, right? I have a background in athletics, so I played competitive basketball in high school and in college. I got a Division I scholarship and played basketball. And so through the process of trying to become a better athlete, you gain certain skills around discipline and what it takes to like have that work ethic behind actualizing some of your goals. So that was kind of embedded in me. Prior to that, I practiced martial arts for a couple of years. So it really taught me about discipline in the sense of having to go through a process like methodically and taking your time to really refine your skills and learn the fundamentals. And so these things are kind of like how I built myself as I was coming up. And then connecting to that desire to just be someone that could support people, that could empower people. I was the friend who would always like ask the real deep questions in like elementary school and in middle school, and people would be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
I was always just thinking about like life on a larger scale and trying to figure out like how I can have an impact at an early age. I studied communications in college because I understand that like communicating with people is like something that I'm really passionate about, but that also helps further the mission.
Yeah.
So initially I had the idea of utilizing it for entertainment purposes and whatnot. But I see like when I look back at my life, you can kind of like see how everything connects, right? There were detours, challenges that I had to work through and overcome along the way. But over the years, I've gotten really good at listening to that like guiding voice inside, the intuition, people refer to it as. And it's always been directing me into this profession of coaching people. And it just so happens that now this is like an actual job that you can have. And I get to live my life in a way where my work is an extension of who I am as a person, which is awesome.
Yeah, super dope. I could attest to a couple things. And I know I already said this already, but just to see the growth from, when you were working a regular 9 to 5, like we all do just to make ends meet, to transitioning to doing what you're passionate about full time. How has that experience been for you, like as a new business owner and taking on clients and things like that? How has that experience been for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It hasn't been easy. A lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of lessons to learn along the way as far as just how to operate a business, what it takes to enroll clients, the financial aspect, making sure that I'm getting better as a coach as I, move along. But the joy that I got from finally being able to dedicate like a full day in a flow of like how I wanted to wake up in the morning, get my workout in, go for a walk, come up with ideas for content creation, have time for, client calls, being able to unpack the calls. Like for so long, I was frustrated with where I was in life with working a 9 to 5 because it was work that was meaningless to me. Like it provided obviously like income and I was able to sustain a household and those kind of things just to survive, which was important. But there was this burning desire inside to do more because I wasn't really connected to my heart in the work that I was doing. And for a long time, my coping mechanism was drugs and alcohol. As I've shared on social media openly, there was a period in my life where I was just really frustrated, and I thought that like this was the best that there was for me. And that was a hard pill to swallow. And it took a while to dig myself out of that hole. But, through changing habits and behaviors and starting to see, my physical body change because, to rewind, after I graduated college, a few years later, I hurt my back pretty bad. And so I wasn't able to play basketball anymore. It was like really difficult for me to sit down without being in pain. I got diagnosed by a couple of doctors that told me I wasn't going to be able to like lift weights anymore. Like it really messed me up, because I identified as an athlete for so long. I got my value out of that, and feeling good in my body was a huge part of just like feeling good in life.
Yeah.
So that was taken away from me. And I was also prescribed painkillers at that time to deal with the pain. And in college, I had a drinking habit. I didn't drink in high school because I was so focused on getting a scholarship. But then I got into college and it was just the norm. And so I went from not drinking to binge drinking. And I built a habit. And so fast forward, I graduated college. I'm still drinking as if I'm in college. But now it's used as a coping mechanism for everything in my life that I didn't like. I got married young. I had my daughter when we had our daughter when I was young, all the responsibilities of a new father, a new husband, and then working at a job that you just weren't really like aligned with. It was really
Yeah.
frustrating. So I was lost for a very long time.
Damn, that's deep. You know, that's one thing that you've always like kind of touched on it, but we've never had and my allergies are killing me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We've never had like a conversation about that. And, you know, this is a podcast and, you know, you talk about deep things like that. But me knowing that you shared it on social media, I never touched on it. I never wanted to ask you questions about it. And even now, I still don't. Like, I'd rather you kind of like flow freely about your experience with it. Because I don't have, how should I say? My experiences with alcohol has always been something where I had fear of it. Alcoholism is a thing in
Yeah.
my family. And I know I have an addictive personality. I'll give you the example. I fell in love with these sesame salads at work every day. I can't even look at that thing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like grossed out. But you know, being that you had that struggle, and it's something. It's a disease that a lot of people don't acknowledge it as such. Whereas like it's debilitating, and I'll be honest, not to be a hypocrite. Like sometimes I'm like, it's as easy as not picking up a drink, but it's not as easy as not picking up a drink because there's a lot of psychological stuff that goes on, like transitioning from somebody who abused drugs and did you know, drank a lot of alcohol and things of that nature. Like, how was that journey from being in that realm to now being the Miles that you are today, where it's like your skin is glowing, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know you when you were struggling with those things before, but I do see a different version of you today. Like when I first met you to today, like you just look like you're physically fit. This dude showing his six pack on social media and all this stuff, making everybody look crazy out there. But like I see it, bro. I see a different version of you, and I think we all continue to evolve. But like, how was that? How was that transition from when you were binging and you were relying on that to now just like kind of relying on yourself and showing up for yourself?
Yeah. It was long. It was long, man. Like I knew I had a problem from the moment I started drinking. Like I blacked out the first time that like I really drank with friends and whatnot. You know, the first week in college, we went out to a house party. They had jungle juice. I never heard of the stuff before, but apparently like it's Everclear, like a bunch of like 100 proof liquor in there, and they mask it with like juice and stuff, so it tastes good. And I'm drinking like cups after cups after cups of this stuff. And so I black out. I wind up walking back to campus to our cabaret. It's like 2:00 in the morning. It's not open, but in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to get something to eat because I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
I pass out outside of the cabaret, and security finds me there. They have to rush me to the hospital to get my stomach pumped. First week in college. So like off the jump, I had a problem.
That was the issue.
Yeah, man. Like I just couldn't control it. And it was something I struggled with for a really long time. I went through years, you know, post college with trying to figure it out on my own. I got books on like how to quit drinking in 30 days, those kind of things. And, you know, I would have stints of like abstaining for like a week or two. But the only out that I had from everything that was going on in life was the bottle. And the hard part is, you know, people who can quote unquote drink normally, they're always around you because, you know, alcohol is such a part of our culture that it's right in your face. And I was also masking other insecurities through drinking, you know, just going out socializing, being out at nightclubs and environments that I wasn't necessarily the most comfortable in. That was my crutch. So there was a lot of partying going on and whatnot at that time. And it was just a part of the lifestyle. But I've tried for so long to do it on my own. Things didn't really start to click for me with the drinking until I'd say right before the pandemic. I reached out for support. It was an online support group. It's called 1 Year No Beer. You know, so it's their whole thing. It's like, it's not about becoming sober or anything. It's just educating people on the impact of alcohol. And there's a community of people who are also just trying to see what it's like, you know, to go without. You can go without for 30 days. You can go without for 90 days. And so that was the first time that I voiced openly to anybody outside of my wife that I was struggling like this. And from doing that, so much shame and guilt was released because, you know, I thought that I was the only one struggling like this, the only one that was hiding bottles in the house, the only one that was drinking before going into work, you know, like just doing extreme things. You know, now that I look back on it from where I'm at now, it's like, wow, you were really like tripping. But
When you say you were hiding bottles, break that down. What does that mean exactly?
yeah, man. So it's, you get to a point in your addiction that you're embarrassed by it, but you need it to function. And so you don't want to be out in the open like it's a Wednesday afternoon and like you're drinking like, you know, a
Like
vodka
water.
tonic for no reason. So, you know, I would hide it in the bathroom or I would hide it in the car. And what happens is you get to the point where like you get drunk, you forget where you're leaving it, and now your spouse is finding it, and now you're like, yo, what? So there's like this whole cycle of lying and whatnot that you have to go through with that. But yeah, it was just being able to share those experiences with other people and then realize that they were doing the exact same thing. So for me, I started to see like, wow, it's not me. It's like, this is what happens when you drink to the extent that I was drinking. And what I've also come to learn is like, it's a spectrum. You know, it's just some people reach the far end of it and it's very extreme. And some people are just in the middle, and maybe something will change in their life that will get them to tip over to that extreme. But it's alcohol. It's like, it's just kind of the way it goes. And it's not to shame, like if you're drinking, like, you know, and if you can do it in moderation, you can control it. Like I never want to come across, you know, with what I post online or not. It's not from a place of judgment. I just know for me, had there been more people speaking about the side that I know of, maybe I wouldn't have made some of the decisions that I did. And
Deep.
maybe I would have reached out sooner for the support and help that I needed.
See, that's a beautiful thing that you're bringing that up, because that right there, what you just said, could help somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody who randomly sees or hears this podcast, because like that's the one thing that I would say is wrong with the world. I don't want to get into that whole philosophical thing, but like I feel like we're so ashamed to share our struggles that we don't realize sharing them, we kind of become human again, where it's like, dog, like, you know, everybody has some type of vice or addiction or something. Like you can judge somebody who doesn't want to stop drinking, but I can't stop drinking soda. So I could just imagine, I'm like, what if it's the same feeling, but even worse? Because it's not only about soda. Now you're like masking not only the taste, but you're masking your feelings. Because you know what I mean? Like you sometimes you drink to forget or not to feel.
All right.
Hence why people say after a long day at work, I need a drink.
Right.
Because they just want to. But I think it's super powerful to share that. Like, I would say one of the things that I recently started to try to do is be a little bit more open about finances. And not to say that I have to tell somebody I got X amount of dollars in the bank, but like I feel like that's a common ground that, like, my sister told me. I went through a rough patch not too long ago, and I told her, like, damn, I have to tighten up the ship. And I felt like such a failure because of that. Because I'm like, you know, I call it ball out, because we go to Target, go to the dollar section, we're balling out. You know, that's our version of it. And that's my family's happiness. But, like, we can't do that. Got to tighten up the ship. So I'm talking to my sister about it, and they were shaming that. They were shaming me expressing, like, I'm like, hey, I didn't really want to talk about this. I don't feel like as a family, as society, we don't really, you know what I mean? Like, you don't talk about when you're going through hardship, you kind of keep that inside because people look at you as if you're less.
Right.
But I started sharing it with her, and she's like, we all go through that stuff. She's like, even rich people. That shit blew my mind, dog, because I was just like, what do you mean rich people? Because, like, you know, rich people have their finances like and stuff like that, so they have to kind of sometimes weather the storm if things get a little,
Yeah.
they have to go with the flow. So the reason I bring that up is because I think it's so important for people to be a little bit more willing to share their struggles, because there's beauty in the struggle at the same time. There's darkness, we know that. There's a lot of darkness in all types of addictions, whether it be drugs, alcohol, porn addiction, spending addiction, like all that stuff. And I think like it's very powerful that you use your platform not only to try to inspire people to help your business out, but also tell people like, yeah, I've been on this journey before. Like, you can holler at me if you need any advice or if you want to just hear my journey. Like, you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot of people, because I think like a lot of depression sometimes too stems from the fact that you feel like you're all alone
Absolutely.
in your journey. And it's just like, if I think that's why it's important to have someone that you can confide in and kick it with and chop it up about anything, because then you can gain some insight about what the other person is going through. And it's just like, yo, like I thought I was here by myself, dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Like I remember I used this one time, and I've heard it before, is like I'm in a room full of people and I feel alone. Like I've felt that before. Have you before? Like
Yeah.
feel that way?
Absolutely.
And it's just like it's dope to be able to connect with somebody. That's why I really appreciate us just sitting down and kicking it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I've learned stuff from you that you probably don't even know that you were teaching. And it could be anything, bro. Like you've said things on video that I'm like, yo, makes you want to sit down and think, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this, again, like you guys got to follow him. What's your Instagram?
Yeah, it's just my name. It's Miles, Miles .Orman, ORMAN.
And the reason that I'm pointing that out, like specifically, like plug that in there, is because you got to see, like, this dude is posting stuff every single day, and just to see the dedication, like where do you bring that out of? Like getting up at 5 a.m. Like sometimes I wake up because I can't sleep. I go on social media, Miles Orman 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, dude, it's 5 a.m. This dude is up. And then I see his son in the video too, and I'm like, that's pretty dope too, because he's growing up with that. Like he's, somebody said the other day, like, your child is always watching you, and no matter what you do, like to them, it's right. It's the right thing to do.
Right.
So to see your behaviors and the thing, how disciplined you are, like even though if he's not getting up on his own, he's gonna pick that up. Like in the future, he's gonna be like, this is normal. Like me and my dad used to get up in the morning and work out.
Yeah,
That's another dude that walks out here with no shirt, making us all look bad.
Eli.
Good looking cock diesel out there. But how do you pull that discipline? Like I know you mentioned that back when you were like taking martial arts and college and all that stuff, but like for folks out there that don't have that, including myself, where do you pull that from, and how do you stay consistent in that battle? Because it's at least to me, and you could disagree if you want or agree, but like that's an everyday battle. Like the want to get up. Like it's not like some people just wake up, but I'm saying like getting up is one thing, and then going and working out and putting those. Like where do you get that from, bro? I've always wanted to like legit ask you, like,
Right.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, man. So it definitely comes from the athletic background, because those are the skills that you build along the way. But I think a lot of it is connected to the desire to, at some point, actualize into like the highest version of myself. And I know that's never going to happen, because the bar is going to continue to be raised, right?
Yeah.
But there's just something from the time where I was really down and out and I kind of gave up on myself, to finally like almost have this rebirth. And I don't want to take it for granted. And I know, like we all know when we can be doing more, right? Yeah. And so it's like just having those honest conversations with yourself are important. The other thing is to have a long-term vision on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? For a long time, I would try to lose weight, let's say, or try to build a business and whatnot. And I was trying to do it in a short time span to where if a challenge came up and I wasn't as consistent, and maybe I did fall off because life is challenging and things are going to come up and you're not always going to be able to, stay on point with things. I would get so frustrated and then stop.
Yeah.
And so the momentum is completely gone. And so by doing that over and over and realizing like there's no specific time frame that I have to accomplish this in, right? All I need to do is build in these habits on a daily basis that are going to serve me for feeling how I want to feel. So that's the priority for me. It's like, what are the non-negotiables to make sure that I can show up for my family, I could show up for my friends, I could show up as a better version of myself so I can stay true to, who it is that I know I am at my core.
Yeah.
It's a lot of self-reflection. I'm big on journaling,
Yeah, I think that's pretty dope that you do that.
Yeah, it's taking the time to get to know yourself. I think a lot of people don't know themselves too well. And we're running around trying to accomplish things in life and live a certain lifestyle based off of what we see other people doing, because it's either getting praised or, they have certain things that we think that we want.
Yeah.
But when you can take the time to really get to know yourself and connect to who you are more of a spiritual level, I think it can do wonders. And so there was a book that I read in college. It was called The Rhythm of Life. It's by this guy, Matthew Kelly. And it was like one of the first personal development books that really made an impact on me. And there was this saying in the book that kept coming up. He was like, the best version of yourself. And he framed a question in, whenever you come across a hard decision or even like an easy decision, it's like, is this helping me to become the best version of myself? And so that's really like how I think about the choices that I make now. And so with me waking up early and working out, it's so that I can become the best version of myself. But for me, because like I like waking up early. Like I like starting my day with energy and like feeling a sense of accomplishment, moving my body and whatnot, like connecting me to my breath, like all of those things that I've learned about myself over the course of time. I've been able to put together this like formula to have a good day.
Yeah. And is that like what you offer clients and potential clients? Is that like kind of what you coach them on, is like coming up with a way to learn themselves? Like it's some therapy in what you do too. Like, you know what I mean?
Therapy and coaching it's similar. I tell people like the difference I believe with coaching is that we're really focused on the future and like where are we trying to go. So we're like working on goals, and sometimes therapy you can get stuck in the past, and not that you don't have to work through past traumas and those kind of things. But there's some therapy involved, and what I usually am focused on helping people with is getting to know themselves. So getting clear on who they are and what it is that they want. Like, what is your vision, right? Start there and don't put limits on it. I'm big on, when I say I want to be an example for people, I want to be the example of somebody who's in like their 60s and 70s who's fucking killing it, like physically, like in great shape, doing new things, like starting new businesses, like has that zest for life. Because I've found examples of that for myself, right? Along the way, it's been important for me to find models and examples of who it is that I'm trying to become, that better version of myself. Because there's people out there that I can aspire to be like. I don't have to be just like them, but, I love seeing people that are in like 70s and 80s that are still getting after it, that are youthful.
Yeah.
And so like that's something that's important to me, right?
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope. It's crazy too. Like I've seen a couple 70-year-olds even almost pushing 80 that I'm like, he could probably kick my ass, bro. And you see him like full of life and ready to drop some knowledge on you and things of that nature. So that's pretty dope, man. So with the goals that you have for yourself, right? And, always setting the bar higher and higher and managing your business and building these packages, like, because you build packages for clients depending on what it is they're trying to do and things of that nature. So you got that figured out. Like, how do you handle your family life? How does that come into play?
Yeah, it's challenging. So I have a 7-year-old, Elijah, 7-year-old son, full of energy. I love him to death, man. Like, he's taught me a lot about really expressing yourself and being like loving. Like, he's such a loving person. He's like really interested in connecting, and that's something that's within me as well. But I see for him, like, he'll walk down the street and talk to everybody. He'll make friends wherever he goes, right? And I have that desire, but I am working through moments of being jaded for putting myself out there and not that energy not being reciprocated. So then I feel bad. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to
Break bread with you.
yeah, and you're just like not even acknowledging me. So I get in my feelings, if I'm being honest, like stuff like that. So he's teaching me about just live your life, be cool, like try to connect with people.
Yeah, like watching him, he's such a free spirit, bro.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just does him.
I love it.
And what's crazy too is just watching somebody who's like that, like whether it's a kid or an adult, they're just so unapologetic. And if you think about it, that's the way you should be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, just be you. Like, this world puts you in so many different boxes of what you're supposed to be like, that you kind of lose your train of thought on who you are, what
Yeah.
you like, what you know what I mean? And it's like what you said is like putting together who you are in the sense of getting to know yourself. I lose my train of thought sometimes too. Like,
Yeah, you're good.
but just that itself, like, I feel like I didn't learn who I was myself until I went through a drastic breakup. And I don't think it was so much the relationship, but it was just not realizing that I needed time for me. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we go through breakups and things like that, and we make it all about the other person.
Right.
And I think 100% you're correct. Like, the more you get to know yourself, the better. Like, I still do. I haven't done it in a while, but I enjoy going to the movies by myself.
Yo.
That shit is
I
the
love
bomb. It is the bomb. I sit there and I'm like, because it's like second nature, something happens and I'm like, when it's sleeping, did you see that? And it's just like, I get to soak that in all by myself. My popcorn, my soda, I'm chilling. And like, that's one thing I would say about my journey myself is like, I learned, and I can't say I did it for so long, but it's just about enjoying yourself, enjoying your journey into knowing yourself. Because like anything else, flavors change and your taste change, and it's just like you're not going to always like the same things. But that's the beautiful thing about learning yourself.
Right.
Like, and I tell people all the time, and I have to tell myself sometimes, it's like, you have to really learn how to love yourself. Yo, and that's the truth, bro. Because if you're constantly, masking either your heartache or just, consuming different things to mask the things that are wrong with you, like, I think you kind of almost like, I always joke, I mean, sometimes you gotta be in front of the mirror butt naked and just have a good cry, bro.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
that's
just
a thing.
pour yourself out, bro. And what I say it to be funny, like butt ass naked, but if you want to, you could do that. But just be completely vulnerable with yourself.
Yeah.
And something that I heard years ago was somebody said, "Fuck with yourself heavy." And I always tell myself that, because it's just like, you got to root for yourself. And that's why I admire you, bro. Because I feel like when you're doing what you do, exercising, and you're putting this content online, and you're showing yourself writing in your journal and all that stuff, you're fucking with yourself heavy. Like, you're showing that you're a champion for yourself, and in turn you're inspiring others. And that's a beautiful thing, bro. I don't know if you notice it, but it's dope. And I don't really like to acknowledge like negativity and things like that, but another thing about the podcast too is like, a lot of people don't like giving another person props because they feel like, he's gonna think he's better than me, or he's gonna know that he's better. I'm always willing to give props, bro, because I genuinely always felt like if you win, I win, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. That's just the way I see it. I see like, you should always be trying to big up the next man or, whoever it may be, because you never know, bro. Like, let's say you're thinking about quitting what you're doing, and it's just like, I tell you, yo, Miles, like I'm telling you right now, which is real talk. You inspire me, bro, with this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Like I see you journaling. I see you getting up in the morning. I see you going on walks with your family. Like the other day, I think it was yesterday or something.
Yeah.
That shit was beautiful to me. Like, to me, family is so important. And that unity and, like, being a minority. Like, I'm Hispanic, Black. Like, that's not the norm, bro.
Right.
I know I'm going off to a different tangent here for a
I'm right
second.
here with
but,
you,
like,
man.
like, it's not the norm. So to see it is, like, it's the bomb. Like, I was having a conversation with somebody today where I was just like, I can't believe where I'm at in my life right now.
Right.
Where it's like, I only want to be with my family, dog. Like, I have no problem with it. And that's one thing that I love about watching Dame Dash. I think I've shared the fact that I'm a huge fan of his. Is like, I got the podcast set up in my house, in the garage. My family's inside. Even if I had $10 million, I would still have it. Whereas, like, maybe I have a warehouse where we have this shit set up, and they're upstairs chilling. Like, I have a playroom or something. Like, to me, it's so powerful to see that unity. Because it's like the norm is for us, as fathers, as minorities, not to be present.
Right.
And it's like, that's another thing. You're not only showing up for yourself, showing up for your business, now you're showing up for your family. Like, if ever you're going to self-reflect or bask in your own greatness, I would say take this moment right now and bask in it, because it's a beautiful thing, bro. Like, to have those things going for you, and it should never go unnoticed to yourself, because, like, I'm just like you, bro. Like, not saying that I'm never happy, but I'm always pushing for, like, the next thing. Like, what's next? What are we gonna do next? And I gotta be better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, like, sometimes I forget, and I think what humbles me down is watching church on Sundays, where it's like, appreciate the moment that you're in and the things you have, because sometimes you find yourself in moments that you're not grateful for what you currently have, but just a couple months ago you wished you were in the place you're at right now, and 100%. Now you're like, yo, I don't even like this. I want more. It's like, dog, you need to slow down for a second and really enjoy the moment. So I just wanted to say that, bro, because I think that's not something that us as men, us as minorities, we don't say enough of that to each other. We don't say, like, yo, I saw you with your family, bro, and that was dope. Nah. That's like that's better to me than pulling up in the Benz. You know what I'm saying? Like, pulling up in the Rolls. Like, you pulled up with your fam. You guys were going for a walk, getting some fitness in and all that. Beautiful thing, that unity, being together. And that's something that I think we should all strive for.
Absolutely. And we share that in common, man. Like, it's been such a privilege and like so dope to have you as a neighbor, just to see what you're doing with your family and what you're doing as far as business and growing, yourself, and just the way that you show up, like, I know that you're striving to be better just like me, and it's not a comparison thing. And, from the first time that we really sat down and chopped it up, you know what I mean? Like, you inspired me. Like, I wasn't really as active on Instagram until we had that conversation a couple years back. We were talking about, like, Gary Vee and certain things, and, like, you were like, hey, why don't you just try doing X, Y, and Z? And, like, I took that advice and ran with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you literally changed my life, man. And I've told you, like, it's been such a blessing just to, like, get to know you and to have that camaraderie of somebody who's, similar age, has a family, has the same type of values. Like, it's important. That's the community aspect that a lot of people are missing out on. And to have, like, a genuine, person, like, I love that, we're so close to each other.
And to me, it's always powerful, like, because it's like, and not to go back to the same thing or make it anything negative, but it's just like minorities, bro. This is not the norm. Like we're making this the new norm. So I'm like, yeah, baby. Like we're like seeing that unity, seeing us wanting to move forward, coming from the backgrounds that we come from with the struggles and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that I haven't shared within my podcast because I'm interviewing other people, but like, you know, I haven't had those struggles of substance abuse, but I've had different types of psychological things that have gone on and PTSD from, you know, certain things that is like, I think that's why I can relate to people and their struggles,
right.
because it's like having PTSD from fearing somebody in my family for so many years growing up was like, they're the boogeyman to me, and now being a grown man and still having some of that.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that like everybody's going through their own battle.
Right.
Like nobody's battle is greater than, you know. But the one thing that I would say that anybody should get out of this podcast is you can never stop moving. Like time is true. Time stops for no man. And you got to keep fighting. It's like, I told somebody one time that, like, I do sales for work, right? And I'm like, I treat every sales call like I'm a sparring session. And I'm just trying to knock the customer out without them noticing. So I feel like that's what life is like. Like, you're in a constant sparring session, and then every now and then you get a real fight. And it's like, you know, it's the struggle of life, but there's beauty in the journey. And then the last thing I want to leave off with, and maybe you could give some insight into this, is there are losses in life, right? But I think it's really the way you categorize maybe the loss or how you label the loss. Because, like, for me, there's been certain challenges in my life that I could, you know, feel bad for myself about and be like, oh, man. But I don't, bro. Because the easiest thing, and I always say this too, the easiest thing is to be pessimistic. So I take everything that I go through, and I'm always like, had I not gone through what I went through, if it's negative, positive, whatever it is, I wouldn't think the way I think today. So, like, for example, with my business, didn't pan out the way I wanted it to pan out. But I still saw it like a triumph. I'm like, yeah, I did that thing, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's one thing that I'll give off to the listeners, the viewers, is like, don't see anything you do in life as if you failed or like you lost or anything like that. Like, always view it as you shot your shot. And you know about that because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to shoot, I'm pretty sure, a lot of jumpers.
A lot.
To perfect that. And I think that's what...
Still not perfect.
Yeah. I saw you dunking the other day on video. You guys got to check that out on Instagram. But I think, like, that's what it's about. Like, how many at-bats you have, how many shots you take. And that's something that I've said at work, and now everybody's saying it, like, just shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Yo, you just never know, bro. And if it doesn't go according to what you wanted it to be, you still got the experience. And that has no price, bro. And that's the beauty in it. But wrapping this up right now, just, is there anything you want to share with the world regarding what you do now, how you can probably be of assistance to someone else, and how they can find you? I know that you already said your Instagram, but like, where can we find you? You know, what types of things do you offer? And yeah, let us know.
Yeah. So my main outreach, or my main platform that I'm utilizing right now, is Instagram. So you can hop on the page if you see something you like, you know, check out some of the videos. You can message me directly. Just even if you're in a position where, as we spoke about earlier, where you feel like you're struggling and like you don't know who to go to and who to talk to, just to unpack some things. Like, I've had numerous conversations with people over this past year where we didn't wind up working together, but just being able to show up and, you know, add value and to support people has been, you know, really helpful. And then if you're interested in working together, I have a couple programs that I offer. Again, it's mainly around mindset and wellness, trying to figure out what's getting in the way of you moving in the direction of some of the goals that you're looking to accomplish. And I would say probably by the end of the year, I'm going to have a newsletter that's coming out. A lot of my content is short form, and I want to go deeper with these topics and these conversations to really, unpack some things. And you can't do that in 45-second, 60-second clips, which is what I do right now on Instagram. It's like there's a whole thing to trying to gain attention and stuff on there. So I've always been drawn to communication and to writing and to words and those kind of things. And I'm finally putting in the work to become a better writer so that I can actually deliver my message through the written word as well. So that's going to be coming.
He's a never-ending work in progress, bro.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I'd say stay on the lookout for that. And there's a lot more in store, man. I have a vision for how I would like this to unfold, but we'll see.
Yeah, you have to manifest it, bro.
Absolutely.
I keep seeing that on social media because, we always doubt ourselves and the dreams that we have. But like Steve Harvey, I just reposted that today. He says, like, if you thought it, God put that in your head. I'm very spiritual and I believe in God like a whole lot. And like, I believe in that, bro. I feel like if you saw it in your brain, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like the man upstairs is like, yo, this is what you can have, player. Like if you play your cards right and you're dedicated and you show up and, you're constantly trying to learn things. So all that stuff is dope. But Miles, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I definitely would like to have you on again, whenever. Hopefully, in the new year, when you drop that newsletter, you can come on, talk to us about it and stuff like that. And, continue being an inspiration to myself and to everyone out there and follow him because those moments where he's up early in the morning is like a virtual digital kick in your ass that you may need. And he does drop some gems on there. Just want to say thank you. Anything I could do to support you. I appreciate your friendship too, man, because I know there's times that you check up on me randomly. And I know I'm not the best at sometimes communicating because I'm in my own world. But I do appreciate those moments too where you reach out and you're like, yo, you good? Even when I was running my business, it's true what he says. Like he'll reach out and be like, yo, how can I help? And that was dope. Like I never forgot that. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.